And welcome to the Balance of Life. I am Pastor Angel Ferguson, and I thank you for joining us today. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Welcome, everyone, whether you are tuning in via our Wisdom app or via our radio broadcast. Uh, I don't know about you, but I have had a very, very good weekend, and today is our kickoff for radio. We air on Tuesdays, 12 o'clock p.m. to 12:45. Wednesday and Thursdays, we air 12:30 to 1 o'clock p.m., and I am just a tad bit hoarse. Had some speaking engagements starting on Wednesday, and then again on Sunday. So I'm a little bit hoarse. Been trying to keep quiet, but you know what? Hey, we have to do what we have to do. And then on tonight, this evening, we have some more engagements that we need to fulfill. I want to talk to you about something that I believe will benefit all of us. And that is the growth pattern. I want to talk about that. It is good. It is so very, very good that we get it, that we find out why we were created. It is so good that we also get an understanding of why we were created, and we start things. It could be starting a new job or career path, starting a new business, and in ministry. It is good to get it, but we must not stay there. Once we get it, then through maturity, I'm going to use that word maturity, we learn how to maintain what we have gotten. And so we have to add to what we have gotten. Learning to maintain it, meaning learning to become stable in our new ventures. Learning to have that maturity to become sustainable and to stay rooted and grounded in it. And then once we learn how to maintain our growth, to maintain our stability, to get settled and really dig our heels into this newfound area, then we must stay there for a continuous pattern of growth. Oftentimes, we start things. We start, and we do not give an opportunity for grounding. When it does not move within overnight, and that's our expectations, and this is just realistic today, we move to something else. We have not given that opportunity and a chance to get stable on its own feet before we shift and move onto something else. Oh, that didn't work. I'm going to try this. That didn't work. I'm going to try that. We are in a time, we are in a season. Many of us have reached that age, and I'm talking about our birth age, where we should have some stability about ourselves, not being tossed to and fro with every wind and doctrine, not being tricked into starting this scheme and that scheme and looking over in someone else's field and seeing the green grass and we see the harvest and we jump and we say, I think I'm going to try to grow corn, but you don't know how long they studied to grow corn to get the harvest that they have now. They had to stick with it. And so I feel that many are jumping around so fast because it's not moving at your speed. Looking over across the yard at someone else And we're looking at finished products. We're looking at years of maintaining. We're looking at a harvest. And we're saying, oh, I can do that. I'm not saying you can't do it. But just like what you see across the field, you see a beautiful harvest. You see stability. You see consistency. You see focus. And they too had to learn how to maintain for a continuous harvest of growth. So get some patience when it comes to what it is you are pursuing. First of all, is that your path? If you are looking to gain a quick dollar really fast, then guess what? That's not your vision. That's not your passion. That's a habit. That's a hobby. And there is a difference between hobbies and dreams and goals. A hobby, you pick it up whenever you feel like it, whenever you want to work at it. Oftentimes I hear my mother, Pastor Valerie Wilson, say that's that hustler spirit. You're just all over the place with no real stability, just touching those things that is going to bring you some revenue when you need revenue. It has no longevity. It has no real stability. You just want to touch it when you need a quick fix, when you need a quick dollar to be made, and when you made that dollar to meet that one particular need or fix. And when I'm talking about fix, I'm not talking about drugs or alcohol or anything like that. I'm talking about, I got this bill coming up, so let me work at my craft. Let me get money. When you and I learn, and I am always the first partaker of what I say, I can never issue out anything without examining myself to say, hey, ouch. And so I have to remind myself often, whenever I start something, am I in it for the long haul? Why am I doing this? Is this going to add to what I already have built? Because I'm supposed to add to. If anything comes along and it tries to pull me in another direction other than towards fulfilling the vision, the dream that was given unto me that I have, it's not a part of the dream. It's a hobby. And hobbies are okay. Hobbies are fine. I'm not committed to the hobby. I'm committed to the dream. I'm committed to the journey. I love hobbies. I do. But a hobby I don't have to maintain. A hobby I don't have to grow. A hobby is really just for me. It's for my own personal gain. Nobody has access to my hobby. That's something I like to do. But if it is connected to the dream, if it is connected to the vision, remember last week we talked about dreams and visions, how the dream should transition into a vision. A dream untouched, unplanned, with no realistic ideas is just that, a dream. It is going nowhere. And at some point, the dream must transition into a vision. It must be maintained for continuous growth. And so add to it. Add to it. Once you get it, and you have made the decision, you have come into the reality that this is a part of your journey, maintain what you get. And I want you to begin to add to what becomes a reality to you. If it is for the long haul, add to it so that it can be maintained. And not just maintained where there's no growth. You want it to grow. So you want to get it. You want to get an understanding of it. Make it a reality. Become one with it. Maintain it so that it is stable. We must learn to stick with something. Some of us are jumping around so quickly, so loosely. Nothing is getting a chance to grow. As soon as you plant the seeds, the next day you're looking for a harvest. It hasn't had a chance to even get in the soil good. It hasn't even taken root. The roots haven't even formed before we're snatching it up saying, okay, that didn't work. That didn't produce anything. I guess I'll move to something else. Give it a chance for the roots to sprout and to grow and to be connected. Oh God. We're planning things. We have ideas, and we start off and we say that this is what I'm going to do. This is my new path. This is my new journey. But we are not giving the roots time enough to sprout, to make a connection to our foundation. We're snatching it up too fast. So you did an inspirational post. You made a video. You wrote a book. No one bought it. No one liked the post. No one said a word. But you can't give up. Give it time for the roots to sprout, to make a connection. Give it time. Add to it. Don't snatch it up too quickly. A lot of dreams are not being allowed to transition to the vision. A lot of visions are not being pursued simply because we're not giving them enough time to gain some stability. You have to go all the way. You have to keep going. Take a look at two different birthing processes: farming and of natural birth. Nothing that we plant today is going to harvest fully on tomorrow. Even when you want the yeast to rise, oh yes, I like to bake. It's a hobby. It's what I like to do to relax. I like to cook to relax. I do. But when you put that yeast together and you want it to rise for the dough to make bread, that takes time. It does not happen immediately. Things take time. And so I want to encourage you today. Don't snatch it up too quickly. Don't snatch it up too quickly. Let it connect. Let it grow. Let it formulate. If you're just tuning in, you are tuning in to The Balance of Life, and I am Pastor Angel Ferguson. Thank you so very much for joining us today. This is the day that the Lord has made. Guess what? I choose to rejoice and be glad in it. On our Facebook page, we shared a word of inspiration with you. Simply says, love what you do so you can keep doing it with passion. Signed, The Vision. Once again, love what you do so you can keep doing it with passion. And that is from The Vision. That's from your vision. You have to love what you do so that you can keep doing it. And there's a way that we do what we do. We do it with passion because we have become one with it. Years ago when I first started out, I always like to share this because I found myself here. We established Hope and Truth magazine, and I started off in business, home-based business, because I was doing some work for my parents' ministry, and I was at home, a wife, children gone to school, and I was just really bored. I was bored, and so I turned that into a small business, what I was doing for the church, greeting cards and business cards and things of that nature. And then Hope and Truth magazine came along. And at first, I knew the potential of what it was. And I'm going to tell you, and this is very transparent, I don't think I've ever said this to anyone, so I'm going to say it to you. I know today that had I taken it seriously back then, that Hope and Truth magazine and Angel Ferguson Word Processing, which that was the original name for publishing, would be further along. I know it would be, but I handled it like it was a habit. I only touched it, and so that's why I can tell you we have to learn the difference between a habit and a dream and a vision, because I was there. And so I would talk about it in conversations when people would ask me, what is it that I do to make myself seem more interesting besides, a housewife, taking care of the nice, big, beautiful home. I wanted to say that I had a small business, and so that's what I did. But in reality, I didn't handle it like a business. I didn't handle it like the vision that it is. I did not. I touched it periodically. I touched it when the mood hit me just right. I treated it like a habit, and it was so much more than that. And that went on like that for a good period of time. I'm not talking about 6 months or a year. I'm going to tell you it was a while. And there were times that I found myself in a tight. And I then would remind myself, girl, you got a business. You got to put it to work and make some money. I'm telling you where I was. I'm not telling you something that I thought of or that I read about from someone else. This is where I was. I treated my vision like a habit. And then one day, there was this wake-up call that says, you have got to take this seriously. This is every day. And you know what it was? It would happen that someone who would receive, say, our monthly newsletter or something like that, wouldn't get one in months and say, hey, are you still doing this? Are you still doing that? That was so embarrassing. I felt so embarrassed that I had to make up my mind, and I had to tell myself, either take it on full time and seriously or leave it alone. But you can't play with a vision. You can't treat a vision like a habit. You can't treat it like a plaything. You can't treat it like I'm going to say it, like a part-time infatuation. I'll get to you when I get to you type of thing. You can't do that. And so many, you have great potential. You have wonderful visions. It is in you. I don't even know you personally, but I believe in the potential of people. There is something there. I know it is. But we have to learn the difference. Is this a habit, or am I in this for the long haul? And then we must learn to get some stability. You know, even when a baby begins to walk, or long before they walk, when they try to hold up their head, they have to learn how to maintain stability. They have to gain the strength. And so they lift up their heads a little bit at a time until they can gain control over a certain position. Oh, this is good. The same thing with when animals are born. They scoot. And then they realize that they have feet. And then they realize they have legs. Same way with riding a bike. We have to learn, first of all, how to get on the bike and how to maintain some balance. How to rest our feet on the pedestals. And I don't know about you, but when I learned how to ride a bike, I don't remember the training wheels portion. I remember getting on my brother's 10-speed bike, and I remember putting the brakes on and just sitting there. Once I was bold enough to get on it and then to just sit on it, and then I had to put my feet on the pedestals, and then I would balance myself, and I would go up a little bit and back up a little bit before I took off out of the driveway. Maintain. Let it grow. Look for a continual growth pattern. And let me say this, when I talk about a continual growth pattern, I'm talking about continuing to educate yourself concerning the components of your vision. What is going to give it life? What is going to nurture it? What is going to feed it so that it is healthy enough to produce? See, I need to be healthy enough to produce. And so I am careful about what I feed my dream. The ideas that I give that dream, that it transition towards the vision. I am so careful. I don't have time to just keep jumping over here and over there and over here and over there and say, oh, I'm going to try this and oh, I'm going to try that. And I have to give it time. And so you might have started out. You might have produced your first video. You might have started doing a podcast to encourage others, and you might look at low numbers and or some days no numbers. What we are looking for, I'm going to tell you, we are looking for consistency. How consistent are you with what you are doing? Once again, there is a difference between a habit and dreams and visions. I use the dream because the dream must transition to the vision. But if it's a habit, you do it whenever you feel like it. You might, whatever it is that you do, if you have a craft, if it's just a habit, you might do it every 6 months. But once again, that's only for you. That's only, even if it might expand to your household, it might, but that's only for you. There is a difference. And so I want to just say to you, as you are tuning in today to the balance of life, there is a growth pattern. There is definitely a growth pattern. And today we must decide, am I going to go all the way? Am I going to add to this? Exactly what am I doing? And don't snatch it up too fast. One thing that I've learned, whenever you do a post, I love social media because you can use it for what you need to use it for. Just because nobody liked it or made a comment does not necessarily mean that they didn't read it. Does not necessarily mean that it did not connect with where they currently are. And sometimes we look at social media standing or followers to determine if we have made an impact. And if that is your focus, that is the wrong focus. They read it, they saw it, they saw the video, they heard the podcast, they saw the post, they bought the book, they're making changes in their lives. Our job is just to deliver. There is an intended audience for you. You keep doing what you are called to do. Don't back up. Do not throw in the towel. Do not get midway and say, I'm done, I'm finished, because no one has talked to me. No one has hit the like button. No one hit share. Listen, they read it. They heard it. They saw it. They felt it. It took root in their life. Your words have meaning. Your words have passion. Your words have purpose, especially if it is for the benefit, and I have to say that, for the benefit of positive change. Give it time to grow. You never know. It could be 10 years down the line, 6 years down the line, 3 weeks down the line. You don't know. Someone could come back and comment on something that you did long ago, that you even forgot you did it. You even forgot about the post. You forgot about the video. You forgot. He was like, wow, when did I teach that? When did I share that? It met the need of someone at an appointed time, and they were prompted to give you a response. Once you get it and you have that aha moment, you can feel it. That's your aha moment. That's your whoa, this is it moment. Then move into the position of maintaining. And get some grounding. And feed it, nourish it, cultivate it for continuous growth. And you will begin to see a harvest. Despise not the day of small beginnings. I'll say that again. Despise not the day of small beginnings. Do not regret or do not look down on small beginnings. In order to get to 100, you have to start with 1. You have to start somewhere. The 0 is the stepping out in faith. But we must start from somewhere. And for a period of a time, you might just collect pennies. You might just get a 1 here, a one there, a one there, a sprout here, a sprout there, and eventually a sprout will turn into a gathering where two or three. But do you see how you keep going and you are committed and you are consistent? That's the maintaining part. You will begin to see some growth. So if you have gotten to a place, a complacent place, that you said, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't see anything. Nothing is producing. If this is your vision, if this is your purpose, I need you to keep going. I need you to keep going. I need you not to step back. I need you to keep progressing. And don't give up. But continue. Continue. Because guess what? There is more for you to do. If you're tuning in now, you're tuning into the Balance of Life. I am Pastor Angel Ferguson, and I thank you all so very much for joining us today. It is absolutely awesome. You know, I love to connect with people with our social media. A few days ago, like I said, I do love to cook. And this is, like I said, you just never know. Back on the 12th, I made some okra and tomato. I love that. And some liver. Do you like liver? And someone is posting telling me what they're making today. So God is absolutely good. This is what we do. This is what we do. And you know what? I pulled that in just to give you an example. Now that post is back from the 12th. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep producing. Don't give up. Do not throw in the towel. Do not let go. But gain some stability in what it is that you are doing. I'm going to share also this with you. When I say add to what it is that you're doing, so I'm going to give you a scripture text, 2 Peter. Here is some instructions. I want to encourage you. It says over in 2 Peter, the first chapter, 5th through the 6th verse, it says, and besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience godliness, and to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness charity. Listen to this. This is verse 8. But he that lacketh these things is blind. Let's go back up. Verse 8. For if these things be in you and abound, they make you that ye shall never be barren, nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. We are applying this scripture to the vision. Verse 9 says, but he that lacketh these things is blind and cannot see far off, and hath forgotten that he was purged from his old sins or old ways. So when you don't recognize the difference between a habit and a vision, then you're blind to what you really have. I was in that place. So let me read this passage of scripture to you again. because I believe it's so good. And we're in 2 Peter, the first chapter, and I will begin reading at the 5th verse through the 9th verse. And besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue. Remember, I said, in order to get to 100, we must start where? 0 is the grounding, and then you move to 1. So 0 is I'm walking out in faith. I have nothing, but I'm going to get started. That's 0. But I'm going to add to my faith. Oh God, that's so good. I'm going to add to my faith virtue, strength, stability. Okay? So I'm going to start again. And besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge. Add to it. Verse 6, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience godliness, and to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness charity. Verse 8 says, for if these things be in you and abound. So, let's look up this word. What does abound mean? Okay? I love to give a meaning of a word because somebody might say, well, what are you talking about? Abound. What does the abound mean? Abound means to exist. And abound also is in big quantity. So if all of these things, all of these great things, faith, knowledge, virtue, temperance, patience, godliness, brotherly kindness, and charity, if I have all of these components for my vision, can you hear me clapping? If I have all of these components for my vision, verse 8 says, for if these things be in you and abound, they make you that ye shall neither be barren nor unfruitful. Remember, today we're talking about the growth pattern. If we take this principle, also, oh, this is so good. I think I have time to give you the rest of these nuggets today. So if I take the principles of 2 Peter, first chapter, 5th through the 9th verse, and I combine it with another scripture text that says, for me to trust in the Lord with all mine heart, and that's over in Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, beginning at the 5th verse. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. There's an S at the end of that. If we continue on in verse 6, it says, again, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Verse 7 says, be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. It shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. If I take the principles given to me in 2 Peter, 1st chapter, 5th through the 9th, and I acknowledge God in all my ways, he's going to help direct all my paths. I will not be barren nor unfruitful. We're meant to reproduce. We're meant to have a harvest. We are meant to have a manifestation of the vision. But I must give it time to grow. I must give it time to become stable. Allow the roots to sprout, to make a connection. Allow them to grow. And listen, don't snatch it up when you first see some sprouting of the roots. And you want to snatch it up then. And what I mean by that is the minute someone likes a post or buys your first product, you haven't made it. Continue to grow. Continue to grow and to maintain so that you can see a steady, a continuous harvest. And you know how you maintain. So your customer, they purchase one thing, but are they going to come back again? Is it continual? Are they residual? Same thing in ministry. We give a word. We give a word. We give a word. We share. We encourage. It's not a habit. This isn't a habit for me. I have a schedule every Tuesday. We do radio, 12 o'clock p.m. to 12:45. Wednesday and Thursday, 12:30 to 1 o'clock p.m. I had to learn even in radio. This wasn't a habit. I had to get to a place where I knew the difference between a habit and a vision simply because, listen, I knew what time I needed to be on radio. I'm sharing this with you in our last few minutes. I knew what time I needed to be on radio, and this is when we first started. And someone would come and talk to me or call me or ask me if I wanted to go somewhere with them. And I knew I was going to be gone. I knew they weren't coming right back. And I'm sitting in the car, and at first I'm saying to myself, and I'm being real transparent here. You know, at first I had a nerve to have an attitude with the individual who called me or asked me if I wanted to go somewhere. You know, I had an inward attitude with them saying, "Oh, they making me late." You know, I had the audacity to think that way. I'm being transparent. I'm being very honest with you. I had the audacity to have an attitude. I did. But it was my responsibility to take what I was doing seriously. And so I had to learn the difference. Listen, this is not a habit. If you're going to do this, if you're going to set a schedule, you must stick to it. You can't come on late. You can't decide, oh, you know what, today I'm just not going to do it. I know I did it yesterday. I don't think I'm going to show up today. I want to do this. No, I had to make a conscious decision. And so what I'm sharing with you today about the growth pattern is, listen, this was a place that I was in, and I had to grow up. I had to get some stability. And I had to learn this very important rule. If I did not respect the vision, how was anybody else going to respect it? If I was not all in, if I was not willing to go all the way, what was I going to give anybody? What did I really have to say to people? The reality is I didn't have anything to say to anybody. I was out of line. So I'm going to say to you, as I say to myself often enough, know the difference. Respect what it is that you have been destined to do. If you're not willing to be in it for the long haul, don't confuse it. Do not confuse a habit with a vision. Don't do that to yourself. If you know 100% that it is a vision, I want you to go all in. I want you to go all the way. I'm rooting for you. I want the best for you because I believe the best is in you. We just have to make sure that it manifests. Listen, that's my time for today. I thank each and every one of you for joining me today via the Wisdom app as well as via our radio broadcast. I love each and every one of you without measure simply because I believe in the potential of you. Be sure to connect with us via social media. Stay encouraged, encouraging others along the way. And guess what? We still have issues of our magazine to pass out. If you have not